So in this exercise that we are going to consider on our geometry of 2D shapes, we are given working out unknown angles and sides. Okay, you might be given a condition where you need to consider the sides or the angles using the properties that we had of the triangles. Okay, so we are given find the sizes of unknown angles and sides in the following triangles. Always give reasons for every statement that you are going to use in calculating whatever that you are given there. Question number 1, find angle C. So this is our angle C. So as you can see, we've got angle A and angle B. We have got two angles. So what is it that we can consider? The angles inside a triangle, remember I said, adds up to 180 degrees. The angles, all of these three angles, angle A plus angle B plus angle C, must add up to 180 degrees. So meaning to say, if we add the 50 degrees at angle A plus the 95 degrees, which is at angle B, plus the angle C that we are supposed to calculate, we must have 180 degrees. So that is the reason that we're going to have in this case is angles in a triangle. All right. So that is angles in a triangle. Angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. So if you understand this, you can actually form an equation that you are supposed to solve. An equation, remember, we can add these two numbers, the 50 and 95. That is going to give us 145 degrees plus angle C, which is equal to 180 degrees. Just like you are solving for X, you're solving for any letter, you're solving for this. So we can take this 150 to the other side of the equation. It was a positive this side. So on this side, it is going to be a negative 145. So on that other side, it must be subtracted since here it was a positive. So meaning to say our angle C is going to be 180 degrees minus 145 degrees. That's obtaining our angle C. So if you subtract these two, you are simply going to obtain 35 degrees. That is our angle C. So meaning to say there, we've got a 35 degrees. So if you just understand this concept, guys, instead of adding this and say it's going to be, it's fine. You equate that to 108, but just understanding also that if these angles, they do add up to 180 degrees, so I can simply obtain angle C direct by subtracting these two angles from one, because these angles, they add up to 180. So we just have to subtract this from 180 degrees. I also have to subtract this from 180 degrees. By subtracting these two angles, I'm obtaining the only and remaining angle that we are given there. That's straightforward. So you can simply subtract it that way. Still, you are going to obtain your angle C as 35 degrees. Or you can form an equation where you can solve for C. Just like that. All right. So our C, it was going to be 35 degrees there. Let's consider another question. Number 2, find angle P. All right. So there we're given to calculate or find angle P. This is our P. Again, we are given two angles. So still, it's going to be just like the other part that we had. Angles in a triangle, they add up to 180. So if I add these two angles, the 45 degrees and the 60 degrees together with angle P, we must obtain the sum of the angles in a triangle, which is 180 degrees. So there we are going to have the same reason. Angles in a triangle, they add up to 180 degrees. So you can add these two, just like the previous case, 45 plus 60 degrees, which is going to be 105 degrees. So 105 plus angle P is equal to 180 degrees. So to find angle P, you're still going to do just like the previous case. You take this to the other side. So it is going to be 180 minus 105. So that's, we have to subtract that from 180 degrees, which was going to give us 75 degrees. 180 minus 105, that's a difference of 75 degrees. So that's our angle P. Just like that. So angles in a triangle, or like I said, you can simply take this direct angle P is equal to 180 degrees, angles that are inside. Then you subtract what you are given, the 45 degrees and the 60 degrees. You subtract them. So it's simple, a direct subtraction like that, you are going to obtain the same answer of 75 degrees. It's another way that you can simply have angles in a triangle. All right. Number 3, find the length. This km, when you're given km like this, is the length of a line. That's a line, okay? This indication of k like this, it's angle k. But if it is now km, that's the length from k to m, from k to m, from k to l, that's kl. All right. So why is it they're asking about the length? We do not have a formula that you can actually use in this case. It is because there are properties that we are given. Remember, this line and this line, what it indicates, it shows that these two sides are equal. So like I say, they can just give you one like that, or they can give us two like that. It shows that the two sides are equal. So in this case, what we are simply having in this case is this line of KL equal to KM. So in this case, we are saying KM is equal to KL. Okay, why? That's an isosceles triangle. We are given this indication. So that's an isosceles triangle that we are referring to. We are simply referring to an isosceles triangle in that case. So in this KM, if it is equal to KL and KL is given, so therefore it is 50 millimeters. We have the length. So this was going to be 50 millimeters. We are not calculating anything there. Just have to know. All right. Another part is to calculate or to find this angle K. Okay. Let's start with angle M. We are not asked about this, but we need to know that. Remember from the isosceles triangle that these angles that are opposite the sides are supposed to be equal. So angle L is equal to angle M. Remember that. From the base angles of an isosceles triangle, angle M and L will be equal. So if these two are equal, it means there is a 38 degrees there. By just knowing this, you are not calculating anything. No, this one is just to know. This angle here and this angle here must be equal. Those that are opposite the sides, which are equal. I talked about that on the introduction. Make sure you go through the video so that you understand that. So to find angle K, it's now easier because we have given two angles. Just like any other triangle, whether it's isosceles, whether it's a right angle triangle, whether it's a what type of a triangle are you talking about? The angles will never change. They will add up, all of them. They will add up to 180 degrees. Whether it's an isosceles, whether it's what? All these angles will add up to 180. So using the previous case that we obtained before, if I add the 38 degrees, this one, to this 38 degrees, and also the angle K, together, we must obtain 180 degrees. That is angles in a what? In a triangle. So that's obtaining 180 degrees from the angles that are inside the triangle. All right, so 38 plus 38, that was going to be 76 degrees plus angle K is equal to 180 degrees. So we can simply take this 78 to that other side. That's obtaining our angle K. So just like previous case, guys, if there's a positive, we take it to the other side, it jumps the equal sign, it will be a minus on that part. So it's going to be 180 minus 76. So you are supposed to subtract that and you're going to obtain 104 degrees. So that's angle K is going to be 104 degrees. Or you can use that concept, K is equal to 180 minus this at the same time. You are supposed to have the same answer, just like that. So the concept of being an isosceles triangle, like I said, does not count in this angle of 180. Any triangle, whether it's a right angled like this, any triangle, the angles, all of these angles, they add up to 180. So you can take that as an advantage also to answer question 4. What is the size of angle S? This is where our angle S is. What is the size of angle S? Remember, these angles together with angle S must add up to 108. And what is the indication of T? Remember here, this here, a square that you see on this part, it's a right angle that you are seeing, which indicates 90 degrees. Right angle simply means there is a 90 degrees. So nothing has changed. If I add this 32 degrees to the 90 degrees, to the angle S that I'm supposed to calculate, I'm supposed to obtain 180 degrees. So thus we can obtain our angle S. So that was going to be 122 degrees. If you add these two, all right, perform your addition here. You add this to this one. That was going to be 122 degrees plus angle S is equal to 108 degrees. So to find S, what are you going to do? Take this 122 to the other side. It becomes a minus. If this is a positive, to the other side, it will be a minus. So that's 180 degrees minus 122 degrees. So if you subtract that from 180 degrees, you are going to obtain 58 degrees as our angle S. Okay, so if this is 58 degrees, that means we have got our angle S here, 58 degrees. Angles in a triangle. Angles in a triangle. So by understanding that, I can also just calculate this. Angle S that I'm supposed to calculate is equal to, okay, because I was not given this, but I know that if I add this angle, and that angle S, I'm supposed to obtain 180. So I was simply going to subtract direct from 180. I subtract the 32 degrees. I also subtract the 90 degrees, just like that. You are going to still obtain the same angle S, which is 58 degrees. Okay? That's another property which is important. And also for those who want actually to work with those shortcuts. Okay, these things, guys, mathematics does not actually end. There's a lot that you need to consider in our mathematics. It also follows that in a right angle triangle like this, if this is 90 degrees, okay, remember the angles in a triangle, they add up to 180 degrees. So here already there is a 90 degrees that is here, okay? So can you tell me something here about these two angles that are remaining? What is important about these two angles that are remaining? This angle here and this angle here. What is important? Okay. Let's say this is A, B, C. I'm just giving an example here. What is important? So this, you must put them in your notes. If you are given this, if you are given this triangle ABC, and it's a right angle triangle, already we have 90 degrees here. And the angles in a triangle, they add up to 180 degrees. Okay, let's remove this 90 degrees here. From 108, we subtract the 90 degrees. What does it mean? Guys, to remove this, if we remove this, what is remaining? You have removed this from your triangle. What are you seeing that is remaining now? You are remaining with the B and C. That is what you are remaining with. Okay. So meaning to say, if we subtract here 180 minus 90, whatever that we are going to have will be for B and C combined together. Okay, this is what I'm trying to say. 180 minus 90 degrees is equal to 90 degrees, which is also an important part, 90 degrees. So it means angle B and angle C together, combined together, must give us this 90 degrees, which is our remainder. So that can also be an advantage to say if this triangle is given like this, therefore, angle B plus angle C is equal to 90 degrees. Okay? From the proper that angles in a triangle, they add up to 180. So we have removed the 90 degrees. So the remaining two angles must give us what? 90 degrees. Guys, if you understand this, that the remaining angles must give us 90 degrees like here, you could have answered this question also direct because you understand that there's a 90 degrees here. So definitely these two angles that are remaining must give us what? 90 degrees, meaning to say angle R and angle S is supposed to give us what? Is supposed to give us 90 degrees, where we have got our angle R. Our angle R is what? 32 degrees. So this 32 degrees plus this angle S is supposed to give us 90 degrees. So therefore, we can calculate our angle S. Take this 32 to the other side. It is going to be a minus 90 minus 32 degrees. You just subtract direct like that. So that was going to be same answer, just like what we got, 90 minus 32 degrees, which is 58 degrees. So meaning to say that was going to be 58 degrees. Exactly the same as what we had before. So these are different ways of answering these questions. I want you to revise as much as you can, know and understand your basics about the triangles, the properties of the triangles, the angles that are there. Understand the whole process and do answer as many questions as you can.